The night on Outpost Helionine was colder than usual. The wind howled like something alive, pushing sharp ice crystals against the metal walls. Most humans inside the outpost were asleep, except one man, Captain Rylan Ward, the chief engineer. He was working late, fixing a power relay that kept shutting down. The silence felt strange, too deep, too heavy, as if the world outside was waiting for something. Then he heard it. A single knock, soft, weak, almost like someone had used their last strength to hit the gate. Rylan froze. No one should be outside at this hour. The storm was deadly. Even humans in full armor suits struggled to survive it. At first he thought he imagined it, until the knock came again, louder and desperate. He quickly opened the security camera feed. What he saw made him stand up so fast the chair fell behind him. 2 young alien girls were kneeling in the snow. Their skin was pale blue, glowing slightly in the stormlight. Their hair was long and tangled, their clothes ripped, their bodies shaking from cold and fear. They looked no older than 17 in human years. Both of them were staring straight at the camera, eyes full of terror. Rylan whispered, "What in the world?" One of the sisters lifted her hand and knocked again, even though she could barely move. Rylan turned on the speaker. "Identify yourselves. How did you get here? What do you want?" For a moment the sisters hesitated, as if they feared speaking. Then the older one forced her voice out, her breath forming frost in the air. "Please, please, human, let us in." Her voice cracked halfway through, and the younger sister grabbed her arm for support. "We will serve you. We will stay quiet. We will work, clean, cook anything," she cried. "Just, please, open the door." Rylan stared, shocked. Their species Ellerin were known to be extremely proud, elegant, strong-minded. They never begged. They would rather die than kneel. But these 2 were on their knees, shivering, pleading like broken children. Something was terribly wrong. "Who hurt you?" Rylan asked. The younger sister looked behind her into the storm, like she expected something to appear any second. "The hunters," she whispered. Rylan felt his chest tighten. "Hunters? What hunters?" The wind suddenly grew louder, almost drowning her voice. "They will find us if you leave us out here. Please, we will do anything for safety. Only let us inside." The older sister lifted her face, tears freezing on her cheeks. "We escaped them. They will not let us go. They track us through the storms. If you shut the door, they will take us before dawn." Rylan looked around the control room. Should he wake the commander? Should he sound an alarm? Or should he open the gate right now? Before he could decide, the motion sensors started beeping. Something big was moving behind the sisters. The shape was faint, hidden in the blizzard, but the outline was massive, too large to be human, too silent to be a machine. The older sister heard the sensor beep too. She pressed her forehead to the icy ground and begged again, her voice breaking completely. "Human, please, let us stay. We will work, we will serve, we will obey. Don't leave us outside with them." Rylan's heartbeat pounded in his ears. This was no normal situation. This wasn't a simple rescue. Something hunted these girls, something powerful enough to stalk them in a frozen wasteland. He had to make a decision fast. Alarms turned red. The computer displayed a warning. Unidentified life form detected. Approaching fast, Rylan leaned closer to the camera. "Sisters, listen carefully. What is following you?" The younger one whispered only one word. Morak. Rylan felt cold even inside the warm control room. The Morak were not hunters. They were monsters known across several systems. They destroyed colonies, kidnapped rare species, and experimented on anything they found valuable. If the Morak were here, the whole outpost was in danger. The older sister tried to stand but collapsed in the snow. The younger one tried to lift her, but she was too weak. Rylan watched them struggle, watched their trembling hands, their broken chains still hanging from their wrists. How long had they been running? Days? Weeks? How were they even alive? Outside, the shadow grew bigger. Rylan's mind raced. If he opened the gate, he was bringing unknown danger inside. If he didn't, he was leaving 2 helpless girls to die. More alarms, more shadows, more movement. The stormlights flickered as the unknown creature stepped closer to the gate. Still hidden by snow, Rylan swallowed hard. He couldn't let them die. His hand hovered over the emergency override button. His fingers shook. The air felt heavy, like the moment before a deadly mistake. He pressed the button. A loud metal clank echoed through the outpost as the gate began to open. The storm rushed in. The sisters looked up, hope exploding in their tired eyes. but Rylan felt a chill run down his spine, because now, whatever was chasing them could enter too, and he had no idea what he had just invited inside. The moment the heavy gate slammed shut behind them, the outpost shook as if something massive hit the outside walls. Captain Rylan didn't wait to find out what it was. He rushed to the two alien sisters and helped them to their feet. Their bodies were ice cold, their skin covered with frost and small cuts. The older sister tried to walk, but almost fell again. Rylan caught her. "You're safe inside now," he said softly, but her eyes widened in fear. "No, not safe, not yet," she whispered. Her voice was so faint that even in the silent hallway, Rylan had to lean close to hear her. He led both sisters toward the warm medbed. As they stepped inside, the bright lights revealed more details. Details Rylan wished he hadn't seen. Metal rings on their wrists, burn marks on their backs, deep lines on their necks where collars once were. Someone had treated them like property. Rylan took a slow breath. "Who did this to you?" For a long second, neither sister spoke. They simply stared at each other, as if afraid the answer itself would summon their enemies. Finally, the younger one spoke. "We were taken by the Morak." Rylan nearly dropped the medical scanner. "Morok? That can't be right. Morak don't come this far." "They came," the older sister said, her voice trembling. "They came for us." Rylan tried to keep his voice calm. Why you two? Out of all the Ellerin, why would the Morak hunt children?" The sisters shared a painful, secret look. The older one stepped forward. "My name is Lyra, and this is my sister Sori." She held her hands close to her chest, as if trying to hide the scars. "We were born with special senses. We can feel danger before it comes. We can sense the minds of hunters. We can find paths in storms where others die." Rylan paused. "You mean, you have abilities?" Lyra nodded slowly. "Yes, and the Morak wanted to control us." Sori shivered and added, "They wanted to make us weapons." Rylan felt a chill crawl up his spine. He had heard rumor stories of Morak scientists capturing gifted species, breaking them, reshaping them into tools for war. But seeing the truth in front of him, seeing the chains, the bruises, it made his stomach twist with anger. "How did you escape?" Rylan asked. Lyra closed her eyes, remembering there was a power failure in their base. For a moment, the security fields fell. We followed the storm winds because they hide our presence. But Morak hunters do not stop. They tracked us through night after night." Sori hugged her arms tightly. "We almost died yesterday. The cold almost took us, but we kept walking because we saw you." Rylan blinked. "You saw me." "Not you exactly," Lyra whispered. "A human, a safe place, a door opening. We saw it in a vision." Rylan looked at her with surprise. "You saw the future." She didn't answer. She didn't need to. Before he could ask more, the outpost alarm beeped again. 3 short, sharp sounds. Motion detected near the gate. Movement, circling the outpost. Unknown signatures. Sori grabbed Rylan's arm. "They found us." Rylan hurried to the nearest screen. The camera feed was blurry from the storm, but dark shapes circled outside the walls like wolves testing a weak fence. Not machines, not humans, not friendly. "We need to alert the commander," Rylan said. "No," Lyra said suddenly. "If more humans come here, the Morak will attack harder. They will not risk losing us again." Rylan turned to her. "Then what do you want me to do? Let them break in?" Lyra took a trembling breath. "No, you must hide us." Sori nodded quickly. "Deep, somewhere they cannot sense us." Rylan shook his head. "Nothing in this outpost is completely hidden from Morak scanners." Lyra stepped closer, her blue eyes glowing softly. "There is one place." Rylan frowned. "Where?" "The lower bunker," she said. "Under the old generator. The metal there is mixed with a rare allochrysium. It blocks psychic tracking." Rylan paused in surprise. How did she know that? Only engineers knew the outpost's old construction details. "You can sense metal types too?" he asked. Lyra looked at him as if the answer was obvious. "We can sense many things." Outside, something slammed against the wall hard enough to make the floor vibrate. Sori gasped and grabbed Lyra's hand. "They're breaking formation. They're preparing to attack." Rylan felt his throat dry. The Morak were not waiting anymore. He stepped forward. "Come, I'll take you to the bunker." As they moved, Lyra suddenly stopped. She touched Rylan's arm gently. "Thank you for opening the door. You saved us." Rylan tried to smile, but his mind was racing. "You're safe, for now. That's what matters." But Lyra shook her head slowly. No, Captain, you don't understand. Her voice dropped to a whisper dark and heavy with fear. The Morak don't just want us back, they want everyone who helped us dead. Another slam hit the wall, this one stronger. Dust fell from the ceiling. Ryland stared at the shaking door. The real danger was only just beginning. The walls of outpost Helionine shook again, harder this time. Captain Ryland didn't need the alarm to understand. The Morak were done waiting. Their shadows crawled across the stormy night, like giant beasts preparing to strike. Move, Ryland urged, guiding Lyra and Sori down the narrow steel hallway. The lights flickered overhead. Every time the glow dimmed, the sisters moved closer together, their hands gripping each other tightly, fear written in their trembling steps. As they reached the lift to the lower bunker, Sori suddenly stopped and stared at the ceiling. They are above us, she whispered. Ryland frowned. That's impossible. The sensors only show activity outside. Before he could finish, a heavy bang echoed above them. The ceiling plates groaned under the pressure. Lyra grabbed his sleeve. The Morak have climbing beasts. They can enter from the roof. Ryland cursed under his breath and quickly hit the lift button. The doors slid open and they stepped inside. As the lift descended, the outpost lights flickered again, and the floor shuddered from another impact. They're attacking from all sides, Sori said, hugging her arms tightly. Yes, Ryland replied, but they won't get inside. The walls are reinforced. The outpost was designed for siege. Lyra shook her head. You don't know them. They break planets. This building is nothing to them. Ryland didn't argue. He could see the fear in her eyes, and something else. Guilt. The lift stopped with a metallic clunk. They stepped out into the dim corridor leading to the old generator rooms. This place was rarely used. Dust hung in the air. The lights were dull yellow, some flickering weakly. Sori's steps slowed. They won't sense us down here, but they will sense you. Ryland blinked. Me? Why? Lyra took a deep breath. You opened the gate. You took us in. Your scent, your presence, it is connected to us now. They will follow every thread. Ryland stared at her. Are you saying they can track people just for helping you? Lyra nodded silently. Yes, that is why our people never flee. Anyone who tries to help us dies. The Morak punish kindness. Ryland felt a chill inside his chest. So they don't just want youth, they want vengeance. They always want vengeance. Sori whispered Dart before Ryland could respond. The outpost speakers crackled. Commander Hale's voice burst through the static. All personnel, prepare for breach. Enemy contact at Gate A and Roof Section C. Defensive squads fall back to positions. Ryland grabbed the radio on his belt. Hale, this is Ryland. I have 2 alien civilians. They need protection. The commander's voice answered sharply. Civilians? At a time like this, bring them to central defense. No, Lyra shouted suddenly. More people will die. The Morak want us, not humans. Hale heard her voice over the radio. Who was that? Ryland. What did you bring into my outpost? Ryland closed the radio. We don't have time for this. Sori pointed to a heavy door at the end of the hall. There, the bunker. They hurried toward it, but before they reached the door, Lyra froze. Her eyes turned bright blue. Her pupils shrank. Her breath caught in her throat. Ryland grabbed her shoulders. Lyra, what's wrong? She looked up at him in terror. They're inside. Ryland stiffened. That's impossible. The inner doors are locked. No alarm. A loud scream came through the hallway speakers. A human scream. Then the sound of metal tearing. Something hitting the floor. Something heavy. SOR. I covered her ears. They broke through where the scanners were weak. They found the blind spots. Ryland's heart pounded. How long until they get here? Lyra answered in a shaky whisper. Not long. They move like shadows. Faster than you think. Ryland looked around. He needed to buy time. The sisters needed to stay hidden. He moved to the bunker door and opened it manually. Inside was a small, cold chamber, lined with thick metal plates, the rare Coresium alloy. Get inside, he ordered. SOR. I stepped back. But what about you? I'll draw them away, Ryland said. Lyra shook her head violently. No, you don't understand. They will not stop until they tear you apart. You have our scent now. They will see you as part of the escape. Ryland gave a tired smile. Then I'll give them something to chase. The sisters stared at him, confused, scared, helpless. Another scream echoed through the hall. Then the lights turned red. Breach in Sector 4. Hostile contact confirmed. Ryland shoved Lyra and Sori. gently inside the bunker. Stay quiet, stay hidden, do not open this door until I return. Sori's hand trembled as she grabbed Ryland's wrist. You won't come back if you go alone. Ryland looked at her with steady eyes. Humans don't leave people behind. Not anymore, Lyra whispered, voice cracking. Why? Why are you helping us? Ryland took a slow breath. Because someone has to. He closed the bunker door. The lock clicked into place. For a moment, silence, then dash boom. The hallway lights exploded. The ceiling bent inward. Something monstrous dropped from above, landing in a crouch. Tall, armored, breathing like a beast. A Morak hunter. Its glowing eyes turned toward Ryland, and it smiled. The Morak hunter crouched low, its plated armor dripping with melted ice. Its glowing red eyes locked onto Ryland with terrifying focus. This creature was not just a soldier, was a predator, a living weapon. Ryland stepped back slowly. His heart thundered inside his chest, but he kept his face steady. He had to act confident. Panic would only make him die faster. The hunter sniffed the air. You smell of the girls, it growled in a deep, metallic voice. Give them to us, human. We will make your death painless. Ryland forced a smirk. You'll have to search harder. I lose things easily. The hunter hissed and raised a long, hooked blade from its wrist armor. You think you are brave, but to Morak, you are meat. It lunged. Ryland dove to the side as the blade sliced through the wall, cutting steel like wet paper. Sparks exploded. Debris rained down. He sprinted down the hallway, knowing the beast would chase, but that was the plan. He needed to pull the monster away from the bunker. The hunter roared and followed, its heavy steps shaking the floor. Ryland turned a corner and grabbed a pipe from the ground. He swung it with all his strength. The pipe hit the hunter's armor and bent like soft plastic. The creature didn't even slow down. It backhanded Ryland across the hall. He crashed into the wall, gasping for breath. Pain shot through his ribs. The hunter approached, slow and confident. Human bones are weak, it said. Ellerin bones are stronger. We break hundreds of them. Ryland spat blood. Try breaking me. The hunter lifted its blade for the killing strike. Then the air changed. A cold wind blew through the corridor. The lights flickered. A strange pressure pushed against Ryland's ears. The hunter paused. Confused, Ryland looked up. Lyra stood at the end of the hallway, glowing blue. Sori stood beside her, eyes shining like silver fire. No, the hunter whispered, your powers. You should not have survived. Lyra's steps were slow, but steady. She raised her hand, palm facing the hunter. You hurt us enough. Sori spoke softly. You hunted us enough. The hunter swung its blade toward them, fast, deadly, but the blade froze mid-air. The creature's arm shook violently as if invisible chains held it in place. Its eyes went wide. What are you doing? Lyra's voice was calm. You cannot use your weapons now. Sori closed her eyes. You cannot lie now. You cannot hide now. We see everything. Ryland watched in shock as the hunter dropped to its knees, struggling to breathe. The sisters weren't attacking with force, they were attacking its mind. The Morak were strong, but their minds were chaotic, full of rage. The sisters could sense the chaos and crush it. The hunter roared in pain. You were supposed to obey us, not resist. Lyra stepped closer. You tried to break us. You failed. The creature screamed and slammed its head into the wall, trying to free itself from the invisible grip. It only weakened. Sori opened her hand slightly, and the hunter's legs buckled. Ryland stared, breathless. What are you two? Lyra answered without looking back. We didn't want to use our power. It hurts us. It drains us. But we will not let you die for us. Sori nodded, tears in her eyes. You saved us from the storm. Now we save you. The hunter fought one last time, lifting its blade, but the sisters focused together. A shockwave burst down the hall. ****. The blade shattered. The walls cracked. The hunter collapsed on the floor, twitching, unable to move. Its eyes flickered weakly. You are abominations, Lyra whispered. No, we are survivors. The creature fell silent. Ryland slowly stood, holding his ribs. The sisters ran to him. Sori gently touched his arm. You're hurt. Ryland managed a small smile. Just a scratch. I've had worse from broken machines. Lyra looked deeply into his eyes. We are sorry you had to see this. Don't be, Ryland said. I'd be dead without you. But there was no time to celebrate. The speakers crackled again. Commander Hale's voice screamed through the static. This is Sector Command. Multiple Morok forces have entered. They're coming from every direction, roof gate, tunnels everywhere. The outpost shook violently. A deeper, heavier sound echoed above them. More hunters, bigger ones. Sori clutched Ryland's sleeve. They're calling reinforcements. The real soldiers are coming. Lyra looked toward the ceiling, eyes glowing brighter. There is no safe place left in this outpost. Ryland's voice grew firm. Then we make one. The sisters looked at him in surprise. Ryland continued, his expression determined. You have powers. We have weapons. We stand together. Lyra hesitated. The Morok armies are huge. We are only 3. Ryland's eyes hardened. 3 is enough to start a fight. A deep, thunderous roar echoed through the entire outpost. It was not a hunter. It was something bigger, something ancient, something built for war. Sori whispered with shaking lips. They brought a Morak warbeast. The hallway lights went out. Only darkness remained. The final battle was coming. The storm finally ended, after many long hours. But the base did not feel peaceful. It felt different, too quiet, too still, almost like the walls themselves were holding their breath. Captain Rian walked out of the medical room and checked the hallway. The lights were flickering softly again, a sign that the power system was still recovering. Behind him, the 2 alien sisters sat together on the floor, Lyra holding Seren close while she slept. Both looked tired, but something about them had changed. Their eyes carried a new strength and a new fear, like they had remembered something important, something dangerous. Rian felt it. Everyone in the base did. The air was heavy with a strange warning. Suddenly, Lyra spoke, her voice low. Captain, something followed us. Rian froze. What do you mean? Lyra's eyes filled with dread. When the storm started, Seren and I felt it. A presence. The same one that destroyed our home. Rion's hands tightened. This was the first time she had spoken clearly about the attack. Lyra continued. It hunts energy. Mind, energy, it can sense us. And now, it can sense your base too. Rian felt a cold chill move down his spine. Before he could speak, something strange happened. The ground vibrated, only for a second, but strong enough to shake tools off a nearby table. Rian ran to the window. Outside, the clouds were splitting open. A giant white beam of light broke through the sky. But it wasn't sunlight. It was moving, searching, scanning the land like a giant eye. Seren woke up with a cry, her voice shaking. It found us. Every alarm in the base suddenly flashed red. The sound echoed through the halls, sharp and cold. Rian shouted into the comm panel. All teams, emergency positions now. His soldiers rushed through the halls, but many of them paused when they reached the front windows, because something enormous was slowly descending from the clouds. A massive shadow, a shape too large to understand. A living creature mixed with strange alien metal, its body twisting like smoke and light. Lyra grabbed Rion's arm. Captain, listen to me, her voice steady but full of terror. This creature does not conquer planets, it empties them. The base lights flickered again, one by one, shutting off darkness spreading like ink. Only one light remained, the red emergency light on the ceiling. It flashed again and again, painting everyone in the hallway in blood-colored shadows. Rian took a step forward. What does it want? Lyra answered, it wants us, it wants our minds, and it will destroy anything in its path to reach us. Outside, the monstrous shape landed on the ground with a low echo that shook the entire base. Dust rose high into the air, metal plates bent from the impact. Soldiers raised their weapons, but their hands trembled, because the creature did not look like something that could be fought. It looked like something from a nightmare. Then, without warning, a long, sharp, bone-like limb pierced the outer wall of the base, tearing metal like paper. Sparks exploded everywhere. The creature started to pull the wall apart, piece by piece. Seren screamed. Lyra stood up with fear and anger in her eyes, and Rian knew this was no simple rescue anymore. This was survival, but there was something else, something shocking, something that made Rion freeze for a moment. The creature was not attacking randomly. It was pulling apart the wall exactly where the alien sisters were standing. It knew it had come for them directly. Lyra grabbed Seren's hand, her voice shaking but brave. Captain, if we stay here, your people will die. What are you saying? Rian asked, confused and afraid. Lyra took a deep breath. We must leave the base. We must face it outside, or it will take this whole base down. The creature roared outside, so loud that the metal beams shook like thin sticks. Rian stared at the 2 alien sisters, and he realized something impossible. something he never expected. They did not only want safety, they wanted to protect him and his people. This story was no longer about refugees asking for shelter, it was about survivors, standing against something the universe feared. Rian nodded slowly. Then we go. And the next moment, the base shook again, as the monster tore another wall apart. The battle had begun.